Welcome to a journey through the fascinating history of Paris Saint-Germain, one of Europe's most storied football clubs. Let's begin at the very beginning, where it all started. On the 12th of August, 1970, something special happened in the heart of France. Paris Saint-Germain Football Club was born, not from nothing, but from a merger. Two clubs came together that summer day. Paris FC and Stade Saint-Germain joined forces to create what would become a football institution. It was a moment that would change French football forever, though no one could have known it at the time. The club chose to make Paris its home, naturally, basing itself in the French capital. And the full name, Paris Saint-Germain Football Club, carried meaning in every word, connecting the vibrant energy of Paris with the royal heritage of Saint-Germain-en-Laye. In their very first season, 1970-71, PSG made an immediate impact. They won the Ligue 2 title, the second tier of French football at the time. It was a statement of intent, a sign that this new club meant business from day one. Finding a permanent home took a little time. In those early years of the 1970s, PSG moved between venues, playing at Stade Jean-Bouin and sharing the Parc des Princes with other teams. They were still finding their feet, still establishing their identity. Eventually, they settled at the Parc des Princes Stadium, which became their fortress. This beautiful ground holds about 47,929 spectators, a cauldron of noise and passion on match days. It's where countless memories would be made, where legends would be born. The colors tell a story too. Blue, red, and white, not chosen randomly, but with deep meaning. The blue and red represent Paris itself, the colors of the city that never sleeps. The white, that represents Saint-Germain-en-Laye, the royal town that gives the club the second part of its name. Look closely at the club crest, and you'll see more symbolism. There's the Eiffel Tower, rendered in red against a blue background. Paris, unmistakable and proud. And there's a white fleur-de-lis, that ancient symbol of French royalty, of Saint-Germain-en-Laye, of heritage and tradition. In earlier versions of this crest, there was an even more specific reference to history. A cradle appeared beneath the Eiffel Tower, representing the birthplace of King Louis XIV in Saint-Germain-en-Laye. It connected the club to centuries of French history, to the very birth of a Sun King. Much of PSG's visual identity owes a debt to one man. Daniel Hector, the fashion designer, served as club president. Hector didn't just influence the crest, he created the famous blue shirt with its central red stripe, an iconic design that would become recognized around the world. Style and substance, coming together perfectly. And that takes us through the foundations of Paris Saint-Germain, the merger that created it, the colors that define it, and the symbolism that connects it to French history. Next, we'll explore how the club built its identity even further. Every great club needs a name that resonates, a nickname that captures the hearts of supporters. For Paris Saint-Germain, two nicknames have stood the test of time. Les Parisians. The Parisians, simple, direct, proud. It says everything you need to know, this is Paris's team. And then there's Les Rouges et Bleus. The Red and Blues, a name that speaks to those iconic colors we discussed earlier, the colors that define the club's visual identity. For the younger fans, there's Germain, the club's official mascot. A lynx, of all things, introduced to bring joy to match days and to connect with children at community events. Germain prowls the touchline, entertaining families, creating memories, making sure that PSG's future generations feel that connection to the club from an early age. Now, let's talk about the silverware, the trophies that turn a club into a legend. PSG's first major trophy came in 1982. The Coupe de France, France's historic cup competition. That victory was significant. It announced that PSG had arrived on the national stage. No longer just a promising club from the capital, but champions of France. 4 years later, in 1986, came an even bigger moment. Their first French league title, their first Ligue 1 championship. Imagine the celebrations that night in Paris, the red and blue filling the streets, the realization that PSG were now truly among the elite of French football. But domestic success, as sweet as it was, couldn't satisfy the ambitions of a club in the capital of France. European glory beckoned. And in 1996, PSG achieved their historic European breakthrough. They won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, a tournament that no longer exists, but one that carried real prestige in its time. It was validation on the continental stage, proof that PSG could compete with the best that Europe had to offer. That Cup Winners' Cup of 96 wasn't their only European trophy, either. In 2001, they added the UEFA Intertoto Cup to their collection. Now, the Intertoto Cup might not carry the same weight as other European competitions. It was a summer tournament, a pathway into the UEFA Cup, but it still meant something. It meant PSG were consistently competing, consistently winning, consistently representing French football across the continent. These were the years when certain players became immortal in PSG folklore. Rai, the Brazilian playmaking midfielder of the 1990s. He captained the team with grace and intelligence, winning multiple domestic trophies and that precious Cup Winners' Cup. Ask PSG supporters to name their greatest icons, and Rai's name comes up again and again, his vision, his elegance, his leadership. Then there was Pauletta, the star striker of the pre-Qatar years. These were difficult seasons for PSG, times when the club struggled financially, when glory seemed distant. But Pauletta carried them through, scoring over 100 goals, deciding tight matches almost single-handedly. He became a cult hero, beloved not just for his ability, but for his commitment, his loyalty, his refusal to give up when times were tough. And we can't forget Ronaldinho, even though he spent only 2 seasons at PSG. 2 seasons, but what seasons they were. In the early 2000s, Ronaldinho lit up Ligue 1 with outrageous skill, creativity, and showmanship. Those famous teeth, that infectious smile, and feet that could make the ball do impossible things. He helped put PSG on the global map, inspiring a generation of fans who had never seen anything quite like him. These players, these trophies, these moments, they built the foundation for everything that would come next. In 2011, everything changed for Paris Saint-Germain. Qatar Sports Investments, known as QSI, a subsidiary of the Qatar Investment Authority, completed a takeover of the club. This wasn't just new ownership, this was a complete transformation, a new chapter, a statement of ambition that would reshape not just PSG, but European football itself. QSI owns 100% of Paris Saint-Germain. And under their stewardship, the club's valuation has soared to around €4 billion. €4 billion, a number that reflects both the investment poured in and the global brand that PSG has become. From a proud French club to a worldwide phenomenon, that's the journey of the last decade and a half. With that investment came stars, real Galacticos, players whose names alone could sell out stadiums. Zlatan Ibrahimovic arrived and became the face of the early Qatari era. Zlatan scored more than 150 goals for PSG, spectacular goals, important goals, impossible goals. His personality filled every room he entered, his confidence bordered on arrogance, but he backed it up on the pitch. He helped re-establish PSG as a European-level powerhouse, making them feared across the continent once again. After Zlatan came another striker, different in style but equally effective. Edinson Cavani, the long-serving Uruguayan centre-forward who reached 200 goals for the club. While Zlatan was flamboyant, Cavani was relentless, tireless pressing, big-game goals, a work ethic that endeared him to supporters. He became a fan favourite during that transitional period between the Zlatan era and what would come next, the Mbappé years. In midfield, one player became synonymous with PSG's modern style. Marco Verratti, the deep-lying Italian playmaker who spent more than a decade at the club. Verratti won a record haul of League One titles, dictating tempo, orchestrating build-up play, controlling matches with his vision and technique. Small in stature but huge in influence, he became a symbol of how PSG wanted to play football. At the back, leadership was crucial. Thiago Silva, the Brazilian centre-back, served as captain and became central to PSG's defensive stability and European progress throughout the 2010s. Commanding in the air, composed on the ball, vocal in organising his teammates, he's regarded as one of the club's best leaders at the back, setting standards that others had to follow. That defensive tradition continues today with Marquinhos. The versatile Brazilian defender is the current long-serving captain. PSG's most capped player and one of its most decorated. Admired for his consistency, his leadership, and his ability to pop up with decisive goals in major matches. Marquinhos represents everything PSG values. Loyalty, quality, professionalism. And then came the signing that broke all records. In 2017, PSG shattered the world transfer record by signing Neymar from Barcelona for €222 million. 222 million, a number so large it seemed absurd at the time. But Neymar was worth it, one of the most naturally gifted players ever to wear the PSG shirt. He delivered well over 100 goals, created countless more, and acted as the creative hub of the attack in the late 2010s. Injuries interrupted his time in Paris, but when Neymar was fit and firing, he was almost unstoppable. Alongside Neymar arrived another superstar, though he would eventually eclipse everyone. Kylian Mbappé, the local boy who became PSG's all-time leading men's goalscorer with over 250 goals. 256, to be precise. Elite pace, incredible dribbling, clinical finishing. Mbappé combined it all. He drove PSG's domestic dominance in the late 2010s and early 2020s, winning title after title, breaking record after record. These players didn't just win trophies, they created an era, a golden age that PSG fans will remember forever. 256 goals. That's Kylian Mbappé's final tally as PSG's all-time leading men's goalscorer. A remarkable achievement for a player who was still in his mid-20s when he reached that milestone. Behind him stands Edinson Cavani, second on the all-time scoring list with 200 goals in official games. 200 exactly. El Matador, as he was known, leaving his mark in PSG's history books forever. But scoring goals is only part of the story. Loyalty and longevity matter too. And in that regard, no one surpasses Marquinhos. The Brazilian defender holds the record for most appearances for PSG's men, with over 500 games played. 500, think about that for a moment. 500 times pulling on that blue shirt with the red stripe, 500 times walking out at Parc des Princes or representing PSG across Europe and beyond. Over the years, PSG's men's team has become a magnet for global stars. Ronaldinho, as we mentioned earlier, but also David Beckham, who brought his stardom to Paris in the twilight of his career. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, of course. Lionel Messi, perhaps the greatest player of all time, spending 2 seasons in the French capital. And George Weah, the Liberian striker who later became president of his country. All these legends have worn the PSG colors at various points in the club's history. This parade of talent has helped PSG achieve something remarkable. They have become the most decorated club in French football, with more official trophies than any other French team. Think about that. In a country with such rich football history, with clubs like Marseille, Lyon, Saint-Etienne, Monaco, PSG now stand above them all. The records are almost overwhelming. PSG are record holders in French domestic football, with the most Ligue 1 titles, the most Coupe de France titles, the most Coupe de la Ligue titles, and the most Trophée des Champions titles combined. In fact, Paris Saint-Germain holds the record for the most official titles won by any French club, 58 trophies in total. 58, a collection that continues to grow. Consistency matters in football, and PSG have it in abundance. They hold the record for the most consecutive seasons in the French top flight, 51 straight Ligue 1 campaigns since 1974-75. Half a century of top-flight football without interruption, a testament to the club's stability and quality. In recent years, PSG have dominated French football in a way rarely seen. They've completed multiple domestic quadruples, winning the League, the Cup, the League Cup, and the Super Cup all in the same season. They achieved this incredible feat in 2014-15 and 2015-16, and then again in 2017-18 and 2019-20. 4 times, 4 complete sweeps of French domestic football. Those same seasons also brought domestic trebles, the Ligue, Coupe de France, and Coupe de la Ligue all won in a single campaign. 2014-15, 2015-16, 2017-18, and 2019-20. It became almost expected. PSG winning everything available to them in France. Even the traditional domestic double, the League plus the main cup. PSG have mastered that too. Overall, the club has recorded 6 domestic doubles, most recently in 2023-24 and 2024-25. The trophies keep coming, year after year. And when it comes to sustained dominance, the numbers speak for themselves. PSG has put together 3 separate League three-peats in Ligue 1, winning the championship 3 years running on 3 different occasions: 2013-16, 2018-20, and 2022-25. 3 separate dynasties within a dynasty. The Coupe de la Ligue, France's League Cup competition. Between 2014 and 2018, PSG won it 5 times in a row. 5 consecutive years, a national record in that competition. Every spring, the same outcome: PSG lifting the trophy, their dominance complete and unchallenged. Then there's the Trophée des Champions, the traditional curtain raiser to the French season, pitting the league champions against the cup winners. From 2013 to 2020, PSG claimed this trophy 8 consecutive times. 8 years without losing, another French record, another marker of their supremacy during this golden era. In 2022 to 23, PSG achieved something unique in Ligue 1 history. They led the table from the very first matchday to the final round, wire to wire, as they say. Never relinquishing first place, never giving their rivals a moment of hope. And naturally, they won the title, a perfect demonstration of sustained excellence over an entire season. PSG is the only French club to have won the Coupe de France without conceding a single goal in an entire campaign. And they've done it twice, in 1992-93 and again in 2016-17. Clean sheets in every round, from the early stages through to lifting the trophy, defensive perfection combined with attacking prowess. When it comes to winning streaks, PSG's records are formidable. Their longest winning streak in all competitions is 16 consecutive victories. 16 games without a draw or defeat, just win after win after win. Their longest winning run in Ligue 1 specifically is 14 matches, which stands as a national record. 14 league games in a row, all ending in victory. But perhaps their most astonishing streak is in national cup competitions, 49 matches without defeat. 49, a number so large it almost defies belief. Game after game, round after round, year after year. PSG just kept winning in cup football. Another national record, another demonstration of their cup pedigree. The 2015-16 season deserves special mention. PSG set several club records that year, earning 96 Ligue 1 points, the most in their history. They conceded only 19 league goals all season, 19 in 38 matches. That defensive record speaks to both organization and quality, a team that simply refused to be broken down. And that same season, Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored 50 goals in all competitions, the most by a PSG player in a single season. 50 goals, in League One, in Cups, in Europe. Zlatan was unstoppable that year, carrying PSG to yet more glory with his remarkable scoring rate. Looking across all competitions, PSG once conceded only 28 goals in an entire league season, back in 1993-94. 28, a defensive club benchmark that showcased the stinginess of that era's backline. Football has changed since then, become more attacking, but that record still stands, a reminder of PSG's defensive excellence. On the opposite end of the spectrum, PSG's most prolific attacking campaign came in 2017-18. They scored 171 goals in all competitions that season. 171 goals flowing from all angles, from all players, in every competition. An avalanche of attacking football that overwhelmed opponents week after week. At home, at Parc des Princes, PSG have produced some remarkable scorelines. Their largest recorded home win in League One is 9-0, and they've achieved it twice. Once against Troyes in 2016, and again against Guingamp in 2019. 9-0, the kind of scoreline that makes you blink and read it again, just to be sure. Total domination, complete humiliation of the opposition, and the home crowd celebrating every single goal. Of course, football has its darker moments too. PSG's biggest home defeat in League One was 6-1 against Nantes, way back in 1971, in the club's early years. 6-1 at home, a scoreline that would be unthinkable now, but which serves as a reminder of how far PSG have come from those early, uncertain days. In European competition, PSG have had their share of success. Their longest winning run in UEFA competitions is 8 consecutive European matches. 8 wins in a row on the continental stage, beating teams from across Europe, proving that PSG could compete at the highest level. But Europe has also brought PSG their most painful memories. And none is more infamous than the Barcelona collapse of 2017. In the Champions League last 16, PSG won the first leg comfortably in Paris, 4-0, if memory serves. The tie seemed over, the quarter-finals a formality. But football can be cruel. The second leg at Camp Nou became one of the most talked-about comebacks in European football history. Barcelona staged an extraordinary turnaround, scoring 6 goals, with the winning goal coming in injury time. PSG were eliminated in the most dramatic, most heartbreaking fashion imaginable. It's a wound that took years to heal, a reminder that in football, nothing is over until the final whistle blows. But PSG have had their moments of European drama too, moments where they were the ones coming back, defying the odds. In 2020, in the Champions League quarter-final against Atalanta, PSG found themselves trailing late. The match was being played in Lisbon, in that strange, one-legged knockout format that COVID-19 forced upon us. Time was running out. Atalanta were minutes away from elimination. And then, in those final moments, PSG scored twice. 2 goals in the dying minutes, a dramatic turnaround that sent them to their first-ever Champions League semi-final in the modern era. The relief, the joy, the sheer disbelief, it was everything football should be. That run continued all the way to the final. In 2020, PSG reached their first UEFA Champions League final, the pinnacle of European club football, the stage every team dreams of reaching. They played Bayern Munich in Lisbon, a final played in an empty stadium, no fans to roar them on, just the players and the stakes and the history waiting to be made. Bayern Munich won 1-0. A narrow defeat, but a defeat nonetheless. It's remembered for missed chances, for moments when PSG could have scored, should have scored, but didn't. The sense was that the club had finally reached the very top stage in Europe, but they couldn't quite take that final step. So close, yet still, the Champions League eluded them. Until 2025. The Inter Milan final. PSG's big win over the Italian giants to lift the Champions League for the first time. Finally, after decades of trying, after heartbreak and near misses, after building team after team of superstars, PSG were champions of Europe. The margin of victory made it even sweeter. This wasn't a narrow, nervous win, but a statement. A declaration that PSG had arrived at the very summit of the game. And what made it even more special was what else they achieved that season. PSG completed the first continental treble in French club history in 2024-25, winning Ligue 1, the Coupe de France, and the UEFA Champions League in the same season. 3 trophies, including that elusive European crown, a treble that had never been achieved by any French club before. But wait, there was more. In that same 2024-25 season, PSG also achieved a continental quadruple. They added the Trophée des Champions to their League, Cup, and Champions League titles. 4 trophies in one season, including the biggest prize in club football, a season that PSG fans will tell their grandchildren about, a season for the ages. Paris Saint-Germain isn't just about the men's team, though. The club also has a women's team with its own proud history. They've played in France's top division continuously since winning promotion and the Seconde League title in 2001. Over 2 decades of top-flight women's football, establishing PSG as a serious force in the women's game. The PSG women's team won its first major honor, the Coupe de France Féminine, in 2010. That was the breakthrough, the moment when the women's section announced itself as contenders, not just participants. Since then, they've added multiple domestic trophies to their collection, building their own legacy parallel to the men. In 2021 came perhaps their greatest achievement to date. PSG's women became French champions for the first time, ending Olympique Lyonnais' 14-season streak of league titles. 14 years. Lyon had dominated women's football in France for a decade and a half. And PSG were the ones to finally break that stranglehold, a monumental achievement that shifted the balance of power. On the European stage, PSG's women have also made their mark. They've reached the UEFA Women's Champions League final twice, in 2015 and in 2017. Twice they've come so close to European glory, establishing the club as a major force in European women's football, even if that final triumph has so far eluded them. But PSG's vision extends beyond the first teams. They are building for the future through their PSG Academy program, a global network that operates in 21 countries around the world. 21 countries, from France to Asia, from the Americas to the Middle East. It's an ambitious program involving more than 50,000 children in its training camps and courses. The PSG Academy is open to boys and girls aged 4 to 17, because PSG believes in catching them young, in sharing the club's philosophy and methodology with the next generation. They offer both year-round training for local youngsters and short-term camps for those who want to experience the PSG way, even if just for a week or 2. And where do PSG's own young prospects develop? At the campus PSG in Poissy, a purpose-built complex that opened in 2023. This isn't just a training ground, it's a state-of-the-art facility designed to nurture talent, to provide everything a young player needs to develop into a professional. Pitches, gyms, medical facilities, classrooms, all in one place, all focused on creating the next generation of PSG stars. Of course, no discussion of PSG would be complete without mentioning the supporters. The ultra groups historically include Collectif Ultras Paris, known as CUP, who occupy the Haute End at Parc des Princes. Their relationship with the club has had its ups and downs, years of tension, even bans. But in 2016, they were officially readmitted by the club, and now the Haute End creates that intimidating atmosphere that visiting teams dread. The team has a fierce rivalry with Olympique de Marseille. Their meetings are known as Le Classique, the classic, the match that stops France. It's more than just a football match. It's Paris versus Marseille, North versus South, capital versus port city. The history, the intensity, the sheer hatred sometimes on display, it's one of football's great rivalries. Within Paris itself, the main derby is against Paris FC, the other half of that original merger back in 1970. But this fixture is rare at senior level, because the teams usually play in different divisions. When it does happen, though, it's special, a local derby, a reminder of shared history, a battle for bragging rights in the French capital. Some matches transcend the ordinary, they become part of a club's folklore, stories passed down through generations of supporters. For PSG, one such match is a heavy home win over Marseille, one of those emphatic victories in Le Classique that stands out not just for the scoreline, but for what it represented. This particular triumph underlined the power shift toward Paris. For years, Marseille had been the dominant force in French football. France's only Champions League winner, the Southern Giants who looked down on the capital club. But when PSG demolished them at Parc des Princes, with star forwards scoring multiple goals on a hostile, high-pressure occasion, it was a statement. The power had shifted. Paris was on top now. Then there are the title-clinching wins at Parc des Princes. Several home matches where PSG sealed the Ligue 1 title, often with a comfortable victory and a party atmosphere already building before kickoff. These matches are famous for the choreographies in the stands, thousands of supporters holding up colored cards to create massive images. Fireworks, both literal and metaphorical. And key goals from club legends. Zlatan, Cavani, Mbappé, whoever was the star of that particular era, stepping up when it mattered most. These moments create memories that last forever. They are why supporters fall in love with football, not just the trophies themselves, but the moments of winning them, the celebrations, the joy shared with thousands of others who feel exactly the same way you do. PSG's reach extends far beyond the stadium, though. In the modern era, the club has one of the largest social media followings of any football club in the world. Tens of millions of followers across platforms like Instagram, X, and Facebook, reflecting PSG's transformation into a global brand. This didn't happen by accident. The Qatari investment brought not just money for players, but a vision for brand building. Signing global superstars like Neymar and Mbappé brought millions of followers from Brazil, from Africa, from around the world. The club's partnerships with fashion brands, with global corporations, they all helped build PSG into something more than just a football club. Now, PSG is a lifestyle brand. You see their shirts on the streets of Tokyo, of New York, of Sao Paulo. You see celebrities wearing PSG gear who might never have watched a Ligue 1 match. It's a phenomenon, the club from Paris becoming a symbol of style, of success, of aspiration. But at the heart of it all, beneath the social media numbers and the global brand and the billion-euro valuations, there's still a football club. There are still 11 players taking the field every weekend, trying to win matches. There are still supporters in the stands, singing the same songs their parents sang. And there's still history being made. Every season brings new challenges, new opportunities to add to that trophy cabinet. 58 official titles so far, but why stop there? Why not 60? 70? 100? The club's current crest design, the one introduced in 2013, emphasizes the word Paris at the top. It was a deliberate choice to strengthen the club's Parisian identity in global branding. Because no matter how global PSG becomes, no matter how many followers they have in Asia or the Americas, they are Paris's team first and foremost. That connection to the city, to the capital of France, to the blue and red that represents Paris itself, that's what makes PSG special. Not the money, not the stars, not even the trophies, but the sense of belonging, of representing one of the world's great cities on the football field. And as we've journeyed through these facts, from that merger in 1970 to the continental quadruple of 2025, we've seen a club transform. From humble beginnings to global powerhouse, from second-tier champions to Champions League winners, it's been quite a journey.